Hi, thank you for watching Chittarupa Yoga and Fitness. I'm Laura Wilson, 200-hour certified yoga instructor. Today we're going to do a restorative practice here on the floor on our mats. You will need either or all of a blanket, towel, pillow, any kind of props like that that you want. We are going to use those to help elevate certain parts of our body, to help open, restore, relax, and renew today. All right, so go ahead and grab all that stuff that you need. Meet me here on the mat. So we're going to start actually with one of these things rolled up and placed underneath our bottoms. And this is just going to help elevate our hips a little bit, giving us a little more opening through the front of the hips. It also tilts our hips forward and lifts them up so that we can lengthen through our spine properly. Most of the time, if we sit straight on our sit bones, we tend to round and things like that. It's a lot of work to sit up straight. So getting on a towel automatically kind of shifts our hips forward, allowing us to open up and breathe right here. So let's go ahead, find a comfortable seat here. If it's comfortable for you, take it here. But let's go ahead and just sit up tall, close our eyes, and just begin by checking in with what we're feeling in our body today. Inhaling and exhaling through our nose. And just beginning to inhale into any area of tension that we feel in our body. Exhaling, maybe through our mouth, and just letting it go. So today's exercise is all about letting go and releasing tension. So that being said, we're going to start with a breathing technique called Nisarga Mukha Bhastrika. And that one helps really kind of stir things up and draw all that tension out of our body. We usually do it standing, but let's try it sitting today. We begin with a deep inhale and exhale through our nose while we're shaking up all of that tension and stress in the body. On our next inhale, we reach down deep, grab it all up, and then we blow it away. So inhale, exhale, stir it up. Inhale, reach for it. And exhale, blow it away. So we'll do that a few more times. How about one more? And let's just find a nice open position. Again, tilting the hips forward up on whatever we're sitting on. Our block works here too. And just breathing normally through our nose. We should have gotten a little bit of energy boosted there. A little bit of elevated heart rate. And just notice if the body feels a little less tense now. We're going to go ahead and stay seated on whatever we're on, and we are going to come to bound angle. Now, I just open up naturally like this. Most people do not, so if you're right here, you might want to take some of your other props here and place it underneath the knees. All right, and then just allow to open up here. We can begin to come forward any amount. So let's just take some deep breaths. We want to think about here as deeply as we can. Inhaling in through our nose, exhaling through our nose. If there is tension that we want to release, we can release it out from our mouth as well. But we want to notice when we're in various poses. The tension that we'll feel is right through the inner thighs in this one. But we may find that we're holding tension at our chest or our mouth and jaw. So let's see if we can just release whatever we're feeling there. Breathing deeply. We need to be able to breathe freely here. Now Now we will be holding the poses a little bit longer. That's why we're using the props, to really facilitate the release of any tension in those muscles. We have a lot of childhood memories, family issues in our thighs. So let's see if we can let some of that go here. Exhale, and maybe release a little further forward. And then slowly, let's go ahead and bring ourselves up. We're going to come back to this one. Let's go ahead and release from here. We're going to use one of our blankets or towels or something up underneath the knee of one of our legs. Another area we tend to be tight and uncomfortable is in our hamstrings, the back of our legs. So most people probably have a slight bend anyway. What we're going for today is a complete relaxation in the muscle. So instead of having any tension keeping the knee bent here, we're going to have it propped up on something so that when we extend up and out over the leg, we've got something there helping to release the hamstrings underneath our knee here. We should be feeling this from that sit bone all the way up to the back of the knee, and some of us may feel it all the way down through the calf as well. But just like before, we want to take our time, exhale and release. A little more with each exhale if possible. And just breathing deeply, thinking about our chest going toward the leg. Now, if we do get to where this feels, a little easier, then we want to see about coming a little further forward. We might even try flexing our foot. So just continue here, breathing deeply. Releasing tension in any up part of our body that we're feeling it. And then we want to slowly bring ourselves back up. Let's go ahead and switch sides. It's the same thing. We want to have it right underneath the knee. And if it's a little bit bigger like this, that's even better. Get ourselves situated. Again, lengthen up and out over any amount. Now, it could be that we're noticing a difference on this side, depending on what kind of activities we've participated in, any injuries we may have sustained. Usually we do feel differences on each side of the body, totally normal. Let's see if we can release tension, maybe come a little further forward. Remember, if we want more, we can always flex the foot, but making sure that it's breathable. We always want to breathe. We should be able to breathe easily. Let's go ahead, release slowly from here, and we're going to take both legs out. So we do want something underneath each one of them now. Same thing, but this time, let's make sure up on those sit bones, we're going to come forward. So start slowly, little by little, and just kind of find your own place. Take a few breaths here, release tension in the jaw. Maybe come a little further forward. This is a good spot for another prop. If you happen to have a bolster or something you can rest on. Again, breathing as deeply as we can. Let's go ahead and bring this up. We are going to go ahead and do a release to the front of our hips now. So I think I'm going to use this one. But let's come over to our hands and knees. And we do want to have something. Yeah, I think I'll use the blanket. something to cushion our knees. Because we're going to come forward in a lunge. Now we want to make sure that the front knee stays over the ankle and that we're off of the kneecap of the back knee, which is another reason we have the blanket there to take care of our knee. So let's just begin here, starting with releasing this hip forward. We got these hip flexors. If we sit a lot, these get really tight. So the purpose of this exercise is to help release through there. So we can keep our hands down. Depending on how we feel, some of us may come up here or even here. Just find what works for you. I'm going to stay kind of in between here. If at any point we feel sore in the knee or in our hips, because this is kind of deep, we can always take a break. We can also add a little extra oomph to this upper leg by bringing both hands to the inside. And I tell you what, let me grab that other one. And another option is to come down to the forearms. So if we have a larger bolster or blanket, we don't have to go down this far. But let's very slowly begin to lift ourselves up. Let's do a quick full stretch of the hamstring again. And then we'll bring the knees together. Let's switch to the other side. So coming forward, hopefully it's the same distance, knee over ankle, back knee off the calf. Staying down, beginning to release that hip forward. Coming up, if that's where we are today. Again, releasing tension anywhere that we feel it in our body. Option to bring the hands to the inside of the knee. And here again, we'll feel different on each side. Maybe bring it down to the forearms. But we're all exploring today, finding what works for us. Making sure it's breathable. And very slowly, let's walk ourselves back. Quick hamstring stretch. And we'll come around and have a seat. Let's place this stuff nearby. So we're going to use it in just a moment. Let's go ahead and roll down all the way to the floor, where we can use our pillow under our head. And let's just kick everything out for a moment. So we've hit the hamstrings, inner thighs, and front of our hips now. Let's look at the outer hip, or our buttocks. So I'm going to recommend, to get a little bit of inversion here, that we take a towel, blanket, or something up underneath our hips. Make sure it's underneath the hip bone and comfortable. If you want to be a little higher, you can always use more stuff. I feel like getting a little higher. So right underneath the hip bone, so that it's resting on whatever surface you have. And then we're going to extend our legs up to the ceiling. Now let's just play around a little bit here with opening up, seeing how our inner thighs feel. We can even play around with our splits a little bit. But let's go ahead and bring the feet together. We're going to cross one leg over the other, kind of like a figure four, the numeral 4, upside down. Now let's go ahead and begin to draw the legs in toward us. We want to reach up to the back of each thigh. We never want this knee back further than the foot, and we want both feet relaxed. So let's go ahead and just begin to hug in. a pretty deep inversion here as well, if we've got our hips elevated. And just notice what we're feeling. Again, we may find that we're tensing in our jaw or face, a little across the chest, in our feet. Let's try to release tension wherever we feel it. We want to go till we feel tension at the hip area. Let it relax, and maybe come a little further forward. So just being aware of how our body feels. Let's go ahead and take our feet back up. Again, we'll look at straddle splits, wiggling our toes, try those other splits, and just noticing how that feels. Let's bring our feet together. We'll cross the other leg over, and again, start to draw it in. We'll reach up to the back of each thigh, hug the legs in, this knee in closer than the foot. That way we hit our piriformis muscle, our gluteal muscles. These are muscles that tend to get really tight in people. If we have sciatica or anything like that, it's probably good that we do this stretch right here. But be careful, let's listen to our own body. Sometimes this can get too intense as well. And let's release, taking our feet up to the ceiling, arms out by our side for a moment. And just squeezing our legs together, squeezing our big toes together. And just experiencing a little more of an inversion here. If we do have our hips elevated on something, we're getting a little more of an elevation sensation than normal. Allowing fluid, blood, lymph to come out of our feet, out of our legs. So we are going to look at one more deep stretch if it's comfortable. Let's hug the knees, and we're going to bring the feet to the floor. So right here, we're already in a supported bridge pose, and we can stay right here. This is where we're going. However, give this a shot, extending the legs down the floor. Now, we should have support right here underneath our hips, but it's not underneath our lower back necessarily. So if this gets intense on the lower back area here, just bring the feet back up, all right? So we're getting a little bit of inversion here, but this is going to give us a little more stretch across these hip flexors if we're able to go there. A little bit of a bend in our back, opening up. Let's take a few deep breaths if we are here. And let's go back to inhaling into any tension that we feel in our body. Exhaling through our mouth, letting go any of that tension. So inhale into wherever we're feeling it. Exhale, let it go. Seeing if we can sync with each exhale. That's another way we know that we're releasing tension. We can also just inhale and exhale through our nose. Find a little moment of relaxation. This is like Shavasana here. So let's very slowly start to draw our navel in. Use that to lift our feet up. We're going to lift up, draw whatever's underneath us away, and just hang out here for a moment, rocking our knees or maybe hugging in and rocking. We are going to roll over to our side for a moment. For today, I'm recommending that we take our block or towel or blanket and hug it between the knees. We're going to roll over to whichever side. We generally recommend rolling over to the right side because then we have gravity drawing anything that may be blocking our nostrils down out of the left nostril, which promotes relaxation in the body. However, if your right nostril's already blocked up for some reason, you want to roll over to your left to open it up so that you can breathe and relax and be comfortable right here. But we have a pillow under our head, otherwise we have our arm extended overhead, head resting on our upper arm. Again, something between the knees to help release tension at our hips and lower back. And let's just take a few deep breaths right here. And before we fall asleep, if you want to, you can turn the tape off. But let's take our top hand. We're going to use that to push ourselves up. Now let's just come back to an easy seat without anything under us. If you like having something underneath your sit bones, go ahead and put it back there. It might actually be good to do that. I think I was using this. Just to go back to that assessment we did at the beginning. Oh yeah, tilting the hips forward, opening the chest. It's much easier to lengthen and align the spine when there is something underneath the sit bones. And just going back to breathing through our nose and seeing what we're feeling in our body. Have we released tension in all those muscles around our hips? Hopefully we have. And let's go ahead, take a big inhale together. Exhale, hands to our hearts. And I hope you enjoyed this workout today. If so, give me a thumbs up underneath here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you watch regularly. And leave me some comments below. There's a little place where you can type comments below the description of the video. So give me some comments. Let me know what you think. If you like this, I can do more of this. So let me know, all right? See you next time. Namaste.